Welcome everyone to my presentation. I'm looking forward to updating you on my research regarding the Fratellini family and their family tree. Here we are in front of the Fratellini tomb in Campo Verano. Though it is clearly not the mausoleum described in Domenico Fratellini's biography that I was hoping for, it was luckily in the area I thought it would be in due to my cemetery research and the maps I consulted. This tomb is newer than 1846, Domenico's death year, and holds members from after World War II. Through discussion with Professor Jan, our best assumption is that the original tomb was perhaps damaged or destroyed in the 1943 bombing of the cemetery, and a new tomb was commissioned to hold some earlier family members, along with more recent members as well. I certainly intend to visit Campo Verano archives in the near future to confirm plot numbers and records of the Fratellini to see if the mausoleum is still standing or if this tomb replaced it. And who knows, maybe there is another branch of the family in Campo Verano. Here I have reconstructed the positioning of the family members and where their names are located on the tomb. You may want to pause the presentation now to take in the dates and names. You will also notice the cognome Flandoli. Enrica and the Flandoli are located on the headstone, whereas the others are located on the ground. Alessandro, who you may recognize, is written in the smallest print on the tomb and has the oldest date. Those on the ground are dated before the 1943 bombing, while those on the headstone are after. When considering order of death, one would assume some organization. Since Alessandro has the oldest date, why is his name so small and off to the side? Unless the tomb was curated for a later member and they chose to include him. With Enrica's name being the largest in the most prominent position, you would assume she commissioned the tomb and that the Flandoli were added later. But then why is Andrea's dedication the most significant with a full description on the bottom? How are the Flandoli related? Where does Luigi come in? These are the many questions that the tomb brings up. What do I know? Alessandro is the nephew of Domenico Fratellini, as found in his biography. This is supported by the fact that it reads Sacerdote on the tomb, and as stated in the biography, Alessandro became a priest in 1843. Who is Alessandro's father then? Here are the original 4 brothers in order of age taken from the biography, but with assumed dates by me dependent on Domenico's birth date. Notice there are 2 different Luigis. My first assumption is that the elder Luigi is Alessandro's father, because when Luigi and Niccolo died, Domenico took responsibility for the figli of Luigi. When we consider the dates, Luigi would have been 36 when Alessandro was born, which is a little old for the 1800s, but not impossible. It would be more helpful to know how old Anna Maria Bossi, Luigi's wife, was. This leads us to Andrea, found on the tomb, whose birth date we do not have, but his death date is only 6 years after Alessandro's, who died at 54. Being so close in age to Alessandro, my hypothesis is that they were brothers. Because Luigi, their father, would have already been 36 at Alessandro's birth. Andrea must be the first son, making his birth date estimate around 1818 to 1820. To support this assumption, we know that Domenico had responsibility of Alessandro's sons. Of Luigi's sons. I also have a primary document from the Archivio Storico Capitolino dated 1872, where an Alessandro and Andrea Fratellini are proposing to add a livable attic to their address at Via Monte Brianzo, 29 to 33, which today is across the river from the Vatican. I know that Giuditta, who we also find on the tomb, is the wife of Andrea. In this document, we find the name Tonetti Giuditta Vedova Fratellini is asking for her husband Andrea's body to be moved into the family tomb from a temporary interment. This process, Professor Jan says, was pretty standard. Does that mean this tomb is at least from 1883? I don't know yet. So, if Alessandro, Andrea, and Giuditta are living in Via Monte Brianzo in 1872, who was living in the Cinque Scole home in 1872? My guess is Giovanni's branch of the family and his grandson Pio, who Christopher will talk to you more about later. From Domenico's biography, I know that the 4 original brothers lived in the Cinque Scole home together for at least a while until Luigi went away to have a family. Domenico continued to live in this house. Perhaps Giovanni did too. As we know, it was close to the drogheria. We know that Giovanni was the entrepreneur of the family and has his ditta stamp on many different businesses. In several documents pertaining to the drogheria, we come across the names Pio, Filippo, and Giovanni. Going off this note and others, my hypothesis is that Giovanni began the company. It went to his son Filippo and then Pio, who is stated in many 1906 documents. In my opinion, the dates do not line up enough for Pio to be the direct son of Giovanni. Here is a rough estimate of a family tree, with many spaces yet to be plugged in. I would suggest pausing your presentation here to take it all in. I would appreciate any insight or suggestions. Thank you for listening to my tangled web of names and dates.